Hi everybody. My name's Andrew Irvine. I'm here today at my home in lovely Colorado, and I'm excited. I'm going to tell you a little bit about a new company, I just recently started working with, Babicz. Babicz full contact hardware, and they make these super cool retrofit bridges, and they're really outstanding. And what's really special about these is the technology that they use on this bridge is in the saddle, which is actually a round cam, and it's called the E-cam. Well, what it is and what makes it different is that it's round. The actual saddle itself is round, so as you adjust it, the saddle turns as opposed to going up and down vertically on posts. So there's no airspace between the saddle and where it makes contact with the bridge and the housing of the saddle that ties it all together. So the vibration, when you play a note, the vibration transfers from the saddle directly to the housing of the bridge and to the body. Other bridges, it has to transfer it through height adjustment posts, and that cuts the amount of surface area and lessens the amount of sustain. So that's the technology that goes into this that's unlike any other bridge that's out there. But there's a whole bunch of other really super cool features. And for me specifically, one of the huge ones for me that I love about it is that it has, the actual bridge itself has these soft rounded edges on it. There's no sharp pointy edges to it. And the technique that I use a lot is this palm mute technique, where I use the back of my hand right here and I mute out the strings and I rest it on the bridge, or right in front of the bridge here on the strings, and I get this warm vintage round tone that other bridges that I've had, the vintage style bridges that I've had, when those posts that I was mentioning that come up for height adjustment, well, sometimes they stick up and they tear up my hand here. Well, this one, not at all. I can slide back and forth, and it's nice and soft. It doesn't hurt my hand at all, and I can pivot back and forth between the finger style to my palm mute style, and it doesn't cause any discomfort to my hand. And anytime I don't like basses that have a lot of sharp pointy edges on them and stuff, because you get to rocking out, you can bloody your hand, and that's no good. So that's a huge feature that I love about it, is that I can just put my hand on there and it doesn't cause any discomfort at all. Now, another great feature about this bridge is the fact that the way that it locks in there, once you've established your intonation and your string height, it has this really excellent locking system on here where it's all snugged in there real tight, and it cannot move anywhere side to side. And because I do a style, I tend to dig in real hard with my right hand. On the older vintage style bridges, I can easily, because I'm putting so much pressure on here, I can pull those saddles or push those saddles off the side of the bridge. And this thing, the way that it all snugs in there real tight and locks in, it's not going anywhere. So that's another great feature for me, is the fact that it's so snug and so tight, the way it all locks in there together. bounce pivot, I call it, is where I rest my thumb on the bottom two strings here, and you'll notice when I'm playing it's bouncing all over the place and it's moving these strings. And again, that bridge isn't going anywhere the way it's locked in there great. So, you know, going back to what I was saying at the beginning, the round E cam creates no airspace, so it adds a ton of sustain. And as you can see, let's check it out. I'd say that's pretty darn good sustain. And I should also mention that on these vintage basses, primarily I use them for session work where they call for you know, older style tones and stuff like that. So I use the flat wound strings. So these are black diamond flat wound strings, and the tendency or the inherent nature of flat wound strings is they're going to be a whole heck of a lot duller than a round wound string. Well, if I'm doing a technique like harmonics, lights up this bass. It just brings the body to life and the neck to life, and really adds a lot of sustain. And as you can see with these flat wound strings, the harmonics are just jumping off here. So yeah, the Babicz full contact hardware bridge is amazing, and I'm just really stoked to be working with these guys. Jeff Carano and all of his associates there at Full Contact have been really cool to me, and I look forward to a long future with them. And I encourage you to go out and get yourself one of these bridges. It makes a huge difference on this, you know, the P bass and the J bass style vintage basses. It really brings the bass to life, and it's a huge improvement. So I would strongly encourage you to go get one and seek them out at www.fullcontacthardware.com. And yeah.